Hello everyone and welcome back to the semifinals of the FTX Crypto Cup. We are back with the other match. It's Ian Nepomniachtchi versus Wesley So, and this is the third game of their second match. If you remember from yesterday, Wesley won the fourth game, the game with all of the mosquitoes, and now Nepo needs to win today's match to bounce back and then to force tiebreaks. Otherwise, it's Wesley So against whoever wins the other match in the finals of the FTX Crypto Cup. So this it's a very exciting game, and it really shows how Nepo really needs a win because he really fights in this game. So without further ado, let's check it out and see what happens. So Nepo with the white pieces opens with d4, and the reason why he really needs a win is because he lost yesterday's match and he already played 2 games, getting only a draw. So now this is his last game in the match if he doesn't win with the white pieces. Because game 4 Wesley has the white pieces, and it's very unlikely that he will be able to win with black on demand against Wesley. So here, knight to f6, we have c4, e6, knight to c3, and d5. We have just a normal Queen's Gambit Declined, and here Nepo goes for the early trade in the center. C captures on d5, knight captures and e4. We have knight captures on c3, b captures, and now c5. So almost a Grunfeld without the dark square bishop being fianchettoed. So here we have rook to b1 and bishop to e7. We have knight to f3 and castles. And now h4. Nepo is now ready to play h5. He's going to go for the very early rook lift, and he's going to start an attack against Wesley's king. So here b6, Wesley ready to fianchetto his own light square bishop, and now h5 as planned. We have h6 preventing this pawn from advancing any further, and the bishop to d3 now. So it's a very aggressive move, but it prevents the queen from defending the d4 pawn. So Wesley immediately uses this to his advantage. C captures on d4, c captures, and now knight to c6. Now, instead of knight to c6, this position has been reached once. In the 2019 World Rapid Championship, World Blitz Championship in Moscow. It was played between Levon Aronyan and Marin Bosiocic, and in that game, Bosiocic played e5. Levon was able to win that game, but here, like I said, we have knight to c6, now with a double attack here, and now Nepo needs to waste a move as he already placed the bishop on d3. So now he goes back, bishop to e2, so the queen also defends the d4 pawn. So maybe not too precise, and now bishop to b7 by Wesley. We have rook to h3. He just wants to get his pieces into the attack, and rook to c8. We have rook to g3, sort of a barbarian style attack, and now king to h8. Now the threat is just bishop captures on h6 because the g-pawn is pinned. So king to h8, and now a3. We have knight to a5, now opening up the light square bishop. Also, the knight can now come to c4, which will be an excellent square for the knight. Bishop back to d3 by Nepo. Now he says, okay, you move the knight, now my bishop can move here. And now at some point, I would like to play e5, open up my light square bishop. My dark square bishop will be also attacking the king side, and maybe good things will happen. So here, knight to c4 by Wesley, and now king to f1. Again, going very aggressive here. Saying that if you go for my a3 pawn, it doesn't really matter, because if you capture with the bishop, I can simply eliminate the defender of the bishop, and if you capture with the knight, just rook to a1 with a double attack on the knight, and once the knight moves, we're going to pick up the a7 pawn, and it's just much better for white. Sorry, not like that. We're going to capture, after the knight goes back, then we're going to capture on a7. So instead, after king to f1, we have knight to d6, and now comes the move we've all been waiting for, and that is d5. And this is just a all-out attacking move. Instead of this, you could just play it very safe, for example, with queen to e2, just add another defender here. The problem is black can just bust open the position with f5, and after we trade, let's say captures, now the rook is under attack, and also this pawn. And after you save the rook, we're going to eliminate one of the defenders of the d4 pawn, queen captures, and now knight captures here, and black is just better here. So instead, after knight to d6, Nepo goes for d5, and this is just beautiful. Now this entire diagonal has opened up for his dark square bishop, and he's about to commence an attack against Wesley's king. So here we have e captures on d5. Wesley accepts one of the pawns, but now bishop to b2, attacking the g7 square. So what will Wesley do now? Well, you can even pause the video for a little bit and try and figure out what Wesley played here, because it's not what you may first think of. while checking out the disposition. So have at it while I give you a couple of seconds. So for those of you who were able to do it, congratulations on not defending the g7 pawn in any way. And for those of you who just want to enjoy the pawn, the show, it's d captures on e4. That's just beautiful. Allowing such a move in a rapid game, Wesley realizes that there is actually no danger here. So Nepo captures the pawn, bishop captures on g7. It doesn't matter if you capture with the rook. You could also capture with the rook and claim that maybe you have some sort of a nasty discovery later on, but just bishop to f6 and you don't have any discoveries here. So instead, we have bishop captures. This comes with check. King to h7, now defending the h6 pawn, and now bishop captures on f8, grabbing the rook. Bishop captures on f8, and now what do you play here? A lot of moves are possible, but none of them are particularly good because this is attacked, and there's simply not much to play. You kind of want to save the light square bishop because, well, it's just a very long attacking piece, but if you play something like bishop to c2, knight to f5 is deadly. Attacking this rook, also the bishop now gains full support across this diagonal. Also, you offer a queen trade. Also, the bishop on c2 is under attack, so this is just dead lost. You have to play something. Let's say you try and save some material. We're going to trade queens, for example, captures, and now we pick up the knight. Captures on f3, bishop captures, and now we're going to trade here. Captures, and let's say rook to c7, and that's it. The bishop and knight, of course, will be stronger than the rook. So this is one way to do it. Rook to g4 is what Nepo tried. He played it right away, but now e captures on d3, and now rook to d4. Now pinning this knight, but also just getting ready to win this pawn here. But now Wesley plays the very sneaky rook to c3, and rook to c3 is a move you don't want to see here because although you can win this pawn, there's this always the very unpleasant bishop to a6, and that's a problem. The rook and the king are now on the same diagonal, and that's just it. Black wins. So here instead we have queen to d2, now attacking the rook, and now queen to c7. We have queen to f4, shifting the queen into the attack. Maybe now you can try something. If the knight can also get into the attack, maybe you can somehow bring this rook into the attack. Things might become possible. But here, Wesley just starts eliminating all of the attackers. Bishop captures on f3, g captures on f3, and now rook to c4. Getting ready to exchange another attacker. We have rook to d1, and now he just trades. Rook captures, queen captures, and now queen to c4, hoping to trade off the queens as well. Then black's position is just winning. Even though you win the pawn, for example, rook captures on d3, we can just play a5, and there's no playing this. This is now under attack. You can't really play all that much to defend it. If a4, just knight b2, we're going to go for the double attack. And now if you want to keep on defending this pawn, then this rook will be useless for the rest of the game. So this is not possible. So after queen to c4, queen to e3, Nepo of course needs the queen and the rook to remain in the game if he's to pose any problems to the black king. And now knight to b5 goes after the pawn. We have rook captures on d3, and now bishop captures on a3. Now Nepo has two connected pass pawns on the queen side, and that's also one more thing to worry about. Wesley has. So here, king to g2, and now bishop back to c5, attacking the queen, queen to d2, and now just knight to d4, stopping all of white's counterplay. We have rook to e3, and now a5. So not much for Nepo to do here. We have rook to e5, and now comes f6, chasing the rook back. Also, the bishop covers the e7 square. So here we have rook to e4, but now f5, further attacking the rook. We have rook to e8, and here Nepo is in a really bad position. He's one of those players that can get out of any position, but this one might be a bit too much. So here, queen to f7 was played, now just chasing back the rook. You could also play something active like queen to c2, but then you might run into some rook to h8 ideas, and you don't want to calculate this with little time on the clock. Of course, you know from experience that this is enough to maybe get a draw, but after, let's say, h6, could be ugly, just to waste time, so unnecessarily. So instead, after rook to e8, we have queen to f7, stopping all of white's counterplay, and now we have queen to e1, defending the rook here, but now queen to g7 check, king to h1, and now knight captures on f3, attacking the queen here. So queen to d1, attacking the knight, but here Wesley just played queen to f7, and it was in this position on move 40 that Ian Nepomniachtchi resigned the game, and it is Wesley So who will face the winner of the match, Magnus Carlsen versus Teimur Rajabov, to see who will win the entire FTX Crypto Cup. So here you resign as, well, your rook is under attack. You can either trade this, which is just completely lost, or you could play something like, there's really no good square for the rook. You have to move it somewhere, but there really isn't any. All of these squares are covered, as you can see. You can you can play it to e2, but e2 is such a funny square because you immediately get checkmated. Queen captures with check, king to g2. Now we're going to deliver this check, and after the king moves one more time, queen h3 will be checkmate. So, after queen to f7, Nepo resigned, and Wesley is off to the finals. So, whoever wins will have an incredible opponent, because I don't think Wesley lost a single game in this event so far. Let me just check real quickly. Wesley, where are you, Wesley? Yeah, not a single loss in this game. So, out of the 7 games against Maxim and out of these 7 games against Nepo, he did not lose a single game. So that's the kind of a player Wesley is, and well, whoever wins the other match will be definitely up against the monster. So that's the game. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I would like to thank Jonathan Linderer, David Brigging, MB Ride, Rodrigo Rivadeneira, and Suresh Kota for your contribution to my channel. Thank you a lot. Really appreciate it. As usual, you can check 2 of my previous videos here. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you soon, continuing the coverage of this very nice event. So thank you all. I will see you soon, and have an excellent rest of your weekend.